Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for being here at the congregation and those of you that are connected through the internet. Today we're starting a new book of the Torah, which is called the Book of Numbers, or in Hebrew, Bamidbar. Bamidbar. And so it's going to be starting in the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 1, all the way to chapter 4, verse 20. But before we start, let's do the Torah blessing, which says, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctifies us with your commandments and commanded us to engage ourselves in the words of the Torah. And for those of you that have been counting the Omer, tonight is day 49. So tonight is basically the end of the Omer. Tomorrow will be the 50th day, and it will be Shavuot at sunset. Okay, tomorrow at sunset starts Shavuot. That means that it's a Shabbat until Monday, sunset Monday. Okay. Now, if you remember, we just finished the book of Vayikra, or the book of Leviticus, and now we're starting a new book. And in this book, basically what the Lord is trying to do is put into practice all the things they have learned up to this point. Okay, now it's a time to organize the people, organize the camp, but the way that he's going to organize is in a manner of military. So he's taking the people and the tribes, organizing them like in a manner of for preparing them for war. So it starts saying this, chapter 1, verse 1. Now the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, or Sinai, in the tabernacle of meeting on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt. So first of all, we need to understand that is the second month of the second year, which is the month of Iyar in the Hebrew calendar. And when it talks about wilderness, some places they describe it as a desert, but it's really not a desert. So wilderness is a place where there's no houses and there's no people living there, but there's at least a few trees, a few bushes, some places you can find some water, but it's not a complete arid desert. Okay? So he says in verse 2, take a census or lift up the head. In Hebrew, it says lift up the head. Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel by their families, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male individually, from 20 years old and above, all who are able to go to war in Israel. So now the Lord is preparing an army. Why? Because now they're going to move out of the Mount Sinai and they're going to march towards the promised land, and they have to be ready to fight in case they find any enemy nations as they're wandering towards the desert or the wilderness to the promised land. And it says, you and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Verse 4, and with you there shall be a man from every tribe, each one of the head of his father's house. These are the names of the men who shall stand with you. So he's going to go through all the 12 tribes, which I'm not going to read all these names, but to let you know that at least one chief person from every tribe, along with Moses and Aaron, is going to count the men that are 20 years and older. So we have from the tribe of Reuben, Simeon, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun. And from Joseph, they divide them into Ephraim and Manasseh. From Benjamin, from Dan, from Asher, from Gad, and from Naphtali. Verse 16 of chapter 1. These were chosen from their congregation, leaders of their fathers' tribes, heads of the subdivisions in Israel. Then Moses and Aaron took these men who had been mentioned by name, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they recited their ancestry by families, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names from 20 years old and above, each one individually. As the Lord commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And it's going to give you the totals per tribe. And again, I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to give you the tribe and the total number. From the children of Reuben, 46,500. From the children of Simeon, 59,300. From the children of Gad, 45,650. From the children of Judah, 74,600. From the children of Issachar, 54,400. From the children of Zebulun, 57,400. From the sons of Joseph, remember they're divided between Ephraim and Manasseh. So from Ephraim, there's going to be 40,500. From the children of Manasseh, there's going to be 32,200. From the children of Benjamin, there's going to be 35,400. From the children of Dan, there's going to be 62,700. From the children of Asher, 41,500. And from the children of Naphtali, there's going to be 53,400. Verse 44. These are the ones who were numbered, whom Moses and Aaron numbered, with the leaders of Israel, 12 men, each one representing his father's house. So all who were numbered of the children of Israel by their father's houses from 20 years old and above, all who were able to go to war in Israel. So then again, the purpose of doing this census or this numbering is to prepare these men for war. All who were numbered were, this is the total, 603,550. Now, these are only men ages 20 and above. It's not counting those that are less than 20. It's not counting the women. It's not counting the elderly. So if you take these men, probably most of them were married. Probably most of them had quite a few children by now. So easily we can kind of have an idea that there were at least 3 million people in the wilderness that Moses was taking care of. That's a lot of people. Verse 47, but the Levites were not numbered among them by their father's tribe. For the Lord had spoken to Moses, saying, only the tribe of Levi you shall not number, nor take a census of them among the children of Israel. But you shall appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, over all its furnishings, and over all things that belong to it. They shall carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings. They shall attend to it and camp around the tabernacle. So the children of Eli are exempt from going to war. They don't serve in the military. Why? Because their function and their main purpose is to take care of the tabernacle, the Mishkan. Okay, their dedication is to the Lord and all the things pertaining to what we can also call the sacred space. Everything that was built, everything that was made for the tabernacle, that is the responsibility of the Levites. Verse 51. And when the tabernacle is to go forward, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be set up, the Levites shall set it up. So the Levites' role is also not only to guard and keep, but also every time they move out, they need to disassemble the tabernacle and put it back together again. Now, if you recall, they moved 42 times during those 40 years. And this is not a little tent. This is a whole huge tabernacle with whole furnishings and a whole bunch of stuff that has to be moved. Verse 51, and when the tabernacle is to go forward, go forward, the Levites shall take it down, and when the tabernacle is to be set up, the Levites shall set it up. The outsider who comes near shall be put to death. Now we need to understand the outsider is anyone that is not a Levite. Okay, an outsider in this case is anyone that is not a Levite. If they approach any of the things that the Lord has called holy that belong to him, the punishment is death. Okay, verse 52. The children of Israel shall pitch their tents, everyone by his own camp, everyone by his own standard, according to their armies. So every tribe had a banner, and that banner had a particular color, had a particular symbol, and it was particular for that tribe. So that banner was in a position within every tribe that they could be seen, and that way they could be identified, the tribe and their position within the whole camp. Verse 52, the children of Israel, okay, we said that. But the Levites shall camp around the tabernacle of the testimony, that there may be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep charge of the tabernacle of the testimony. So the tabernacle is going to be in the middle of the camp. Then you're going to have the Levites around the tabernacle, and then around the Levites, you're going to have the rest of the tribes. So the Levites are going to be like a buffer between the tabernacle and the rest of the people. Why? Because they are to guard, to keep, and to make sure that no one that is not a Levite can come close to the tabernacle. The only time the people were allowed to come is when the Lord needed to meet with them, or it was a festival, or it was a Shabbat and they were bringing offerings. But still, nobody could just walk in, okay, because it was a sacred space and there's limitations, restrictions, and that's why the Levites were in between the tabernacle and the people. Verse 54, thus the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so they did. Chapter 2. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, every one of the children of Israel shall camp by his own standard, besides the emblems of his father's house. They shall camp some distance from the tabernacle of meeting on the east side. So now he's going to organize them according to the four coordinates of the earth: east, south, west, and north. So on the east side, it's going to be Judah, who's going to have 74,600 men. With him, it's going to be Issachar, who's going to have 54,400 men, and the tribe of Zebulun, and they're going to have 57,400 men. So you have to remember that these numbers are huge. So there has to be a way of putting all these people together and then making sure that nobody kills each other. Okay, so this is on the east side. Okay, then we have in verse 9, it says that the total of people with Judah was going to be a total of 186,400. Okay, so this is the group total of all the men. Please give me a second here.